Okay, so you're thinking like, do I need a coach in real estate? Like, hey, like my broker helps me, like I'm on a team or I'm not on a team. Like, hey, do I need a coach? Like, is it even beneficial? I feel like every other person on YouTube that talks about real estate is saying, hey, I'll coach you. Give me 500, 800, $1,000 or more. Give me $5,000 like I did. And that was stupid. And it's one of those things where like, do you need it? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about if you should need a coach and in what positions I have found for me why making a coach was such a smart decision. Let's get into it. What's up, everyone? My name is Cameron Hodge, coming at you from eXp Realty. And on this channel, I talk about everything eXp Realty and my journey as being an agent in this industry, hoping to provide value to you as the agent or aspiring agent in this industry. And I'm getting every single day reach outs from team leaders, agents, broker owners, those looking to make the move to eXp Realty and have the conversation with me and my partners, and I absolutely love it. So if that's you're thinking about making the move to eXp Realty, give me a call, shoot me a text, or even schedule a Zoom call down below, and I have your back when moving to eXp Realty. All right, so getting into the video. So obviously real estate coaching, like I'll start from the beginning because like obviously we've all been new agents at some point, especially in this technology age with social media, YouTube, and all these crazy things that are going on. I think there's so many people, and I know you've seen it if you're on YouTube. It's people who are like, they provide value, like, cold calling or, prospecting and all these things. And they're like, all of a sudden, like you see a button below, they're like, oh, hire me as your coach. And it's like, oh, okay. Then you look into it and you're like, especially like, I think it's like a new agent trap. And a lot of us, it's like, well, one, do we need a coach? Or if you're like, well, this will fast track me to successful, and I'm totally going to pay that money and jump into it. And you're like, all of a sudden you get into it, you're like, wow, like 500, 6, because I even, if you're like me, you're dumb and you paid $5,000 when you joined the industry. Was it helpful? Yes, absolutely. It was amazing information, but I'm telling you, like, you don't need to spend that kind of money when you start. The biggest thing, like even looking on YouTube, you can get all the free information you possibly need to get started and to get your feet into the industry to where you can have sustainable money. And that's coming from someone who didn't do what he's supposed to. I avoided it like the plague. I tried to find quick solutions, easy solutions. There's none. I'm going to save you the time right now. Or if you've been in the industry a couple years, but now you're like, oh, I need to make that change. I promise you, there's nothing that's going to substitute hard work. I had to come to this realization, sit down, like, wow, my family is struggling with money. Am I really putting in work every day, or am I just wasting my freaking time? And I was wasting my time. So if you're watching this and you're like, look, I'm not even making like $50K a year from this business, or like you're just about to get started, I promise you don't need a coach. But now if you're like me, and like last year I hit that average agent mark for the country. It's like what, 6 to 10 deals a year. Average, income. I think the average income in the United States right now is 41,000. But that closing that amount should put you at like about depending what your company's cap is, it should make you a capping agent, maybe just below that. And if you're at that point, like I was last year, you're like at a point where like, look, I need some focus. I need someone to work it through. Because you look at some of like the biggest players in history, right? Sports, boxing, fighting, like they all have coaches. Now, obviously, you're not a millionaire here. We're not getting a coach for we're not getting a coach for your relationship, a coach for your work, a coach for prospecting, a coach for there's obviously you can go crazy with that. And I think that's one thing that we jump down the rabbit hole as agents really freaking well, especially pretty much self-employed in general. You jump down the rabbit hole and you're like, oh man, I need a coach now. And it's like, hold on, do you? Which is why I think it's so important. Obviously, so like you could partner, right, at eXp, and you find the right partnership, and you can get people who have been there, done that, and can give you honest opinions of how to get to that next level or just even get off the ground. And they will tell you how they did it. You can find the right person who you want. You know what? How they did it, I want to follow in their footsteps. Like I said before on this channel, I'm going to say it again. I heard this first from Curtis Johnson, who's in my upline. Awesome. And it's make your first million my way, and then you can make the next million your way. And what that means to me is, look, there are proven steps to get you off the ground, to get you to that higher income level. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Do what's already in place. It's going to be hard work. It's going to suck. It's going to destroy you. It's probably going to stress out even your family at times. But if you're able to push through it, do it, you will find some level of success. And now everyone's level of success is different. But obviously, if you're not happy then just do the steps that are already there. And now, obviously, like if you're like me, like on our group, like we push YouTube very, very heavily, and they have even proven steps of how to create a YouTube channel system that has leads calling you, and that's all a big thing that they teach. They've proven it, hundreds of millions in volume from people recreating this wheel that's already been done. Not recreating it, I'm sorry, by following the wheel that's already been built and just redoing it and having clients call them. But I will also tell you that if you're not off the ground yet, a lot of the things that are really good that we all like, man, I wish I could just jump in and get those things. It's long-term. That's long-term. It's not going to give you money today. It just is how it is. A lot of the times, like I think one of my first coaches I had, I won't name the company, but they were a little more passive. You know, they're really big on SOI and stuff like that, which is important. All agents should be doing their SOI, you know, staying in touch with them, because like it's terrible. It's hard enough to get clients that once you get clients, a lot of agents just leave them to the wayside. Don't do that. Thankfully, that's the one thing I didn't do wrong. But my problem is I didn't get enough in the pipeline when I started. So don't do that. But, you know, coming back to the coaching thing, like that company was very passive, but it put a good mindset in me of keeping in touch with my SOI. And thankfully, I have a very small group when I started, but the ones I did have were able to give me a lot of those deals. I were able to get the process done, so I could, you know, I was able to do the level of success I did in the beginning. But, you know, with my coaching, I was able to kind of get a mindset of what was good about that and kind of get a flow in place. The problem is so you look at the first coach I did when I joined the industry, right? It wasn't even a coaching, right? Like, what is coaching? Well, my opinion now is a coach is someone you're talking with weekly, right? You talk with your coach. They've been there. They've done that in the industry. They've been an actual agent, you know, or if they're still active agents or even better, and they understand how the industry is changing, what's going on. They have, you know, good feedback, and they're one-on-one conversation. You're setting goals with them, and then if you miss those goals or you fail, they're gonna be like, why didn't you fail? Holding you accountable. That's really what a coach is, to be fair. That's why I say when you get started, you really don't need that. You just need to find, you know, in line with people that have been there, done that, and they're willing to share and maybe even walk with you one-on-one in your first couple of transactions. You know, like obviously EXP, if you're a new agent, like the first 3 transactions, like they're going to have a certified mentor who is a capping, successful agent in your market, walk with you on those transactions and be a part of it. They get a small piece, but they help you walk with it. Or even if you don't fall under that criteria of being that, you know, that new agent, there's still so many agents. Even I have conversations with people. Like I got a meeting tomorrow with someone who wants to get licensed. I'm going to give them the full scoop. It's not easy. It's an outbound sales business. It is what it is. But I still do that. I set aside some time every week to do that because I've been there, and I really wish someone would have spent that time to give me the full honest ability. And I did a little bit, right? Like who brought me into the industry? I got a lot of learning experience, but a lot of people, they don't have that. They just see their friends or family out there doing real estate. And they're like, wow, it looks like they're having some level of success, but then they don't get any support getting into the industry. So I love being in that position to help. But obviously I have to keep getting better myself, because what's the point of preaching if I'm not trying to improve, you know? So I think that's where coaching really plays into. So after being all the new stuff set aside, if you're in a position where you're starting to get some success, you're starting to get some ground under your feet, you know, like I was last year. So obviously you have, like, the first thing I did, it was a course, right? Like thousands of dollars for a course. And what they would have weekly Zooms, but it's with other people. Right? Like there was always like, you know, 20 people on that call. That's not coaching. That's a webinar. And it just is what it is. So I paid all that money for what? Like a course and some stuff? Like all that training, honestly, I could have gotten for being in the right, lining up with the right people when I got in the industry. And thankfully, like a lot of it I did already have, like, you know, walking with other agents on open houses, going with other agents, you know, with buyer appointments, listing appointments, and actually getting that hands-on experience, because that's how I learned. And that paying all that money for a course, like that could have gone to something else. And I think it's one of my biggest regrets when I joined the industry was making that decision, because I thought I was gonna, you know, make it easy, cut the curve off. It didn't. All right. Now, when I decided at the end of that year, last year, 2021, to make a decision to get a coach, I joined that first company. It was about like $500 a month. It did provide, you know, some monthly marketing material to send to my SOI, you know, and stuff like that. It had a CRM that came with it. So it wasn't like, you know, full, it was coaching, but it was every 2 weeks and stuff like that. But I realized, I don't know, I think I knew in my heart that I was like, man, something just doesn't feel right, right? And I went to a great event with dinner with a lot of successful people here, recently, and I had a conversation with the number 2 agent for EXP here in San Diego, and it's really just like, hey man, like coaching like is different flavors, so like you're in the military, like you are super obsessed with goals and will do what you need to do to get there. Like I think you need to make a change. There's nothing wrong with different types of coaching, but I think the way he described it was so true. And it's that everyone, like every type of coach out there, and there are so many, it's each one has its own flavor, right? You have Mike Ferry, his son Tom Ferry. You have Buffini. You have, there's a lot of other ones. And there's some that provide a lot of free, and most provide free value. You can watch all these people recordings on YouTube and get pretty much all their teachings right off the bat from watching all their videos, right? But obviously what I said before, a coach is someone who follows up with you weekly. So I made a change to a different company, one that's more aggressive, which is great because that's what I need. That's what I fall in line with, is someone being aggressive, being like, hey, you said you were going to do this. Like, why didn't you do it? Or just keeping me focused and like, hey, all these, like the shiny object syndrome, right? Like, hey, you see this object over here? That's great. Are you able to devote minimal time, but eventually still get that long-term benefit from like that lead generation? I'm like, yes, fantastic. Set the time aside. That's going to be your time that you focus on that. But the majority of your time has to be focused on getting this business off the ground, not focused on shiny object syndrome and burning out. And it's so true. And having that coach, honestly, switching to a weekly phone call with a coach was so much better. It keeps me way more accountable, and I don't trail off, because every week it's like, oh crap, all right, I'm talking to my coach next week. And I don't know, I hold myself accountable, but having that person where I'm like, hey, I'm going to tell this person every week, hey, I failed, or hey, I hit my goals, fantastic, next. And keeping those blinders on to stay in the same place, like that's what a coach is to me. It isn't so much about having, that agent that's been in the market forever. Like honestly, a coach is just helping you set goals. They have a lot of experience talking to other agents, being, hey, this has worked for some people, this and that. Having a coach that's tailored to you for your personality to get the most benefit for you. And it's really just an accountability partner. Let's be honest with you. Now, I will say with the coaching company I am with now, they also recommend getting 2 other agents, not to join. We're not doing that. But that you just stay in touch with. It's like, hey, you should look to find 2 of your peers and you guys help keep each other accountable. Because while you talk with your coach once a week, having that person with daily accountability, or like, let's say you're making cold calls, right, to get it started, because like it is an outbound sales. Like, you got to get the ball rolling. And having those person that shows up with you, makes the calls with you, like that accountability. And maybe not everyone's like that, but for me, I really thrive in that. I think I just differed from that for too long. And finally making this switch, having like the great insights, like, this stuff's always right in front of you. But like, look, like I changed the coaching, but I didn't do that out of my own self-will. Like, you still need to get out there and network with other agents that are active in the market. And when I did that last week, at the time of recording this video, and I had that conversation, and I was like, light bulb went on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, why am I doing this? Like, this current thing I'm doing, this path is way too passive. I got a family to feed. I have a 3rd kid on the way. I'm like, I got to make this work. I have to do more, do better. I have to put in the work. I'm already putting in the work, but I'm not seeing the results. What am I doing? Well, I'm not doing a whole heck of a lot of things. And making this switch, talking with the right people, now it's like, okay, just keep doing this. It's like knocking away a tree. You're sharpening the axe. Now it's time to start whacking. And, that's where coaching really can play in. It's just an accountability partner. So, sum everything up. If you're a new agent, you're watching this, you're looking to get into industry, personally, I think coaching doesn't fit. I think you need to find the right brokerage, the right person and people that you aspire, you look up to, that are willing to help you, not just, leave you there and not make you, help you succeed. Because even like I'm doing coaching, I've already like learned tidbits. I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. You know who really benefit from this? I call the person up, when we talk, once a week or once a month, like, hey, I heard this thing. Like, I think this would really help you. And that's just who I am as a person. That's who all my partners are. That's how they feel the same way. And it's always making sure you align in that direction, not just waste your money on coaching. Save the money. Work at it, build your business, start to get the momentum, and then you can look at coaching. That being said, don't think you don't need a coach, because even like the top agent, like, he still has coaching. Now you level up and you get, harder coaches and harder coaches that are going to push you and push you and push you, more coaches for different areas of your lives that are very specific. And obviously that's a whole different level, so don't think that you're above getting a coach, right? Like even Tom Brady has a coach, and like a fitness coach, a diet coach. Like, don't think you're above. And it's like some of the biggest superstars have coaches for every area of their life. So make sure you focus on that. And when you hit that level, fantastic, then you can start doing it. I know I aspire to hit there. Right now, one coach is good enough to make sure I get my business off the ground. I keep my blinders on and focused. So that's everything, whether I think you should or shouldn't get a coach. If you enjoyed that, then obviously hit like and subscribe. Or if you're like in a position where you're not looking at getting coaching, or you are thinking of making the move to eXp Realty, reach out, give me a call, text, email, or schedule a Zoom call down below. I absolutely love talking with agents. I get reach outs every single day and week, and I love helping people make that decision, but make a right decision. So without that, I will see you in the next video.